Welcome to Beyond Vision Mindset. If you're tired of feeling stuck, wondering why your life isn't where you want it to be, then you're in the right place. Today's video will uncover 7 destructive habits that can completely derail your life without you even realizing it. These habits often creep into your day-to-day routine, and before you know it, they've caused irreversible damage to your personal growth, relationships, and overall well-being. But don't worry, we'll also dive into how Stoic philosophy provides the tools you need to break free from these patterns and create a life of resilience, clarity, and success. If you're ready to take charge and transform your mindset, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because you won't want to miss the insights we're about to explore. 1. Not pursuing passions. A life of regret. Imagine waking up one day and realizing you spent years, maybe even decades, doing something you don't love. That was me for a long time. I worked in a job that paid well but left me feeling drained and unfulfilled. Every day, I told myself, I'll pursue my passion tomorrow, or I'll start that creative project when I have more time. I thought I could wait until everything else in my life was sorted. But the reality is, time keeps moving, and waiting for the right moment can cost you your dreams. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste a lot of it." This quote became a wake-up call for me. I realized that I couldn't keep putting off the things I truly cared about. What if I kept waiting for the perfect time that would never come? If I didn't act now, I would never have the opportunity to experience the fulfillment that came with pursuing my passions. It wasn't an easy decision to start making time for what I loved. There was fear, doubt, and uncertainty along the way. But every small step I took toward my passion, even if it was just for an hour each day, brought a sense of joy and purpose that I had been missing for years. Eventually, those small steps led to bigger changes in my life. I found a way to make room for the things that lit me up, and I stopped putting them off. It was a reminder that life doesn't wait, and neither should your dreams. 2. Neglecting relationships. The silent killer of connection. There was a time when I believed that focusing solely on my personal goals would lead me to happiness. I thought, if I just work harder and achieve more, everything will fall into place. But over time, I realized that the relationships in my life, family, friends, and even romantic connections, were starting to wither. I didn't even notice it at first, but as I became more consumed by my work and ambitions, I found myself feeling more isolated, disconnected, and lonely. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to think, to enjoy, to love." His words struck me deeply. What good is success if you have no one to share it with? What good is a career if you have no meaningful relationships to enjoy it? Stoic philosophy teaches us that relationships are a crucial part of living a good life. But they take effort, attention, and nurturing, something I had forgotten in my pursuit of success. It wasn't until a pivotal moment in my life, when I realized I hadn't seen my closest friend in months, that I understood how much I had neglected the people who mattered the most. I knew I had to change. I began reaching out to friends and family, making time for meaningful conversations, and listening with more intention. It wasn't easy, and it didn't happen overnight, but the bonds I rekindled became a source of strength and joy in my life. It reminded me that success without love, connection, and support is an empty victory. 3. Not taking risks. The comfort zone trap. For most of my life, I stayed in my comfort zone. I didn't like the idea of taking risks because failure seemed so daunting. I convinced myself that staying safe was the smart choice, that I could make steady progress without stepping into the unknown. But what I failed to realize is that comfort doesn't lead to growth. It only leads to stagnation. Epictetus once said, "It's not that we are afraid of things themselves, but that we are afraid of our judgments about them." That's when I understood that my fear of taking risks wasn't actually about failure itself, but about the story I told myself about failure. What if I failed? What if I looked foolish? The fear of judgment held me back more than anything else. There was a point in my life when an incredible opportunity presented itself, one that required me to step far outside my comfort zone. I almost said no because the fear was overwhelming. But then I remembered a quote from Marcus Aurelius. "The obstacle is the way." In other words, the fear I felt wasn't something to avoid, but something I needed to face. So, I took the risk. And although it was terrifying, it turned out to be one of the best decisions I ever made. It taught me that taking risks is where true growth happens, and it's the only way to reach new heights in life. 4. Poor financial decisions. The pitfall of instant gratification. How many times have you made impulsive purchases or decided to spend money you didn't really have, thinking it would bring you happiness in the moment? I know I've been there. I remember a period of my life where I was constantly chasing after the next new thing, whether it was clothes, gadgets, or expensive meals, believing that buying more stuff would make me happy. But I quickly learned that instant gratification comes at a high cost. Seneca once wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." This was a turning point for me. I had been living for the thrill of new things, but I wasn't finding lasting happiness in those purchases. The more I bought, the emptier I felt. I wasn't paying attention to my financial health, and I was constantly in debt or struggling to make ends meet. Learning to live within my means and embrace delayed gratification was difficult at first. I had to change my mindset completely. Instead of constantly seeking material things, I started prioritizing financial stability. I created a budget, paid down my debts, and began saving. It was a slow process, but over time, it gave me a sense of control and peace that spending money on fleeting desires never did. Financial freedom isn't about how much money you make, but about how much you save and how wisely you spend. Start making better choices now, before the cycle of poor decisions catches up with you. 5. Not taking care of health. The foundation of a strong life. For many years, I neglected my health. I thought I could handle everything, work, relationships, personal growth, without giving much thought to my physical well-being. I skipped workouts, ate poorly, and stayed up late, convincing myself I was too busy to prioritize my health. But slowly, I began to feel the toll it was taking on my body. I was constantly tired, stressed, and sick. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "Your health is your wealth." This statement finally hit home for me. I realized that if I didn't take care of my body, nothing else would matter. No amount of success, wealth, or accolades would make a difference if I wasn't physically well enough to enjoy them. I started small, taking walks, drinking more water, and cutting out unhealthy foods. Over time, these small changes became habits that transformed my health. I felt more energized, more focused, and more capable of handling the demands of life. Prioritizing my health didn't just improve my body, it improved my entire life. It taught me that health is not just about looking good, it's about feeling good and having the energy to live a full, vibrant life. 6. Not living in the present. The lost art of now. How often do we find ourselves lost in thoughts about the past or worried about the future? I know I've spent far too many moments looking back on regrets or anxiously anticipating what's next. But the truth is, when you're constantly living in the past or the future, you miss out on the only thing you truly have. The present moment. Epictetus wrote, "Don't demand that events happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do." It's only when I embraced this philosophy that I started to live in the present. I realized that if I didn't start fully engaging with the present moment, I was wasting the precious time I had. I made a conscious effort to practice mindfulness, whether it was appreciating a cup of coffee in the morning, having an honest conversation with a friend, or simply taking a walk outside. Those little moments, when fully experienced, became the most enriching part of my day. Life isn't happening tomorrow or in the past. It's happening now. Make it count. 7. Living to please others. The hidden trap of approval. For years, I lived my life based on the opinions of others. I thought that if I could just make everyone around me happy, I would find peace and fulfillment. But as I tried to meet everyone's expectations, I lost sight of who I was and what I truly wanted. I was constantly adjusting my behavior, decisions, and actions to fit into someone else's idea of what I should be. And in doing so, I ended up feeling disconnected from myself. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." I realized that if I allowed others' opinions to dictate my choices, I was giving away my power. The more I sought approval, the less I felt in control of my own life. I decided to stop living for others and started living for myself. I made choices based on my own values, passions, and desires. The journey wasn't easy. It required me to let go of the fear of judgment and embrace authenticity. But the more I aligned my life with what felt true to me, the more fulfilled and peaceful I became. I realized that living for yourself is the most freeing and empowering thing you can do. Thank you so much for watching. If these insights resonated with you, like, subscribe, and comment below to share your thoughts. Which of these habits do you recognize in your own life? Which ones are you ready to change? Remember, it's never too late to transform your mindset and take control of your life. You have the power to create the life you desire, one step at a time. We'll see you in the next video.